Hey, did you know that we had an election here in the US? Did you hear about that one? Did you? Because, wow, it has been a ride. A real doggone roller coaster since November. And not the fun kind, the kind that jostles your insides and leave you questioning if that was a smart move for a middle-aged man to make. And here's the thing, that every election feels like this now. Every so-called moment of progress feels like it gets framed like the stakes have never been higher. Like we're always one vote away from disaster, one donation away from collapse, one election away from the end of democracy as we know it. And I've played my part in that. I've given my money, my time, my labor. I have volunteered. I've knocked on doors. I've made phone calls. I've done it all, assuming, maybe even needing to believe that we were working toward something real. But lately, I've been wondering, what if we're not? I'm Nick, and this is Dr. Cranky Pants Reads, and today we need to talk about a book that has cracked that question wide open for me, No Name in the Street by James Baldwin, because this book has made me cry. It has made me rearrange my politics, and it has shaken me awake. It's a book that has changed me, and I think it might change you too. And before we go any further, I want to be clear. This is going to be a political video. There is no way to talk about this book without being political. If that is not your thing, that is perfectly fine. Move on to a different video. I'm personally fine with that. But there will be politics in this video. I will be talking about my personal politics in this video. That said, I welcome conversation. I welcome complexity. I believe in pluralism and that real conversation, the kind where we both sit with discomfort and learn from each other, is how we grow. But I'm also thinking a lot about what Baldwin shows us in No Name in the Street, which is that pluralism is not easy. It is not equal. Some of us carry more risk when we enter into these conversations. Some of us bear more weight just to show up. And that weight is not evenly distributed. Baldwin lived this truth. He wrote from this truth. So yes, I believe in the power of conversation across difference, but let's not pretend that we all come to this from the same place, because we don't. I also know that not everyone is in a place to engage with politics all the time. That's okay. If you need to step away because you're overwhelmed, because you're tired, because the world is a burning dumpster fire, please do that. Please take care of yourself. Baldwin knew that too. He had to leave the country because the weight of it was breaking him. But politics isn't going away. At some point, we all have to reckon with it. So step back if you must, but come back to us stronger, because we all have to return to this work. Now, what I won't do is I will not engage with bad faith arguments. I won't entertain straw man versions of my points. And I'm not going to waste my time arguing with people who think that political engagement begins and ends with telling others to just vote. I don't need you to agree with me, but I do need you to be curious alongside of me. And if that's the kind of conversation you're looking for, stick around. And if not, that's okay. I'll see you in the next one. There is a reason why The Fire Next Time is the Baldwin book that gets assigned in schools, the one that gets quoted in political speeches, the one that white liberals make sure they're seen reading in public and feel enlightened by. Because The Fire Next Time still has hope. Baldwin is still trying to reason with America in that book. He's still warning, still trying to reach people, still believing, however tenuously, that maybe, just maybe, the right words in the right way might make a difference. And I get it, that book is extraordinary. It deserves every bit of its place in the canon, but it's also a Baldwin that is easier to hold, a Baldwin that you can read and say, look how far we've come. A Baldwin who leaves the door open, but no name in the street. This is Baldwin years later, after Malcolm, after Martin, after Medgar, after watching the civil rights movement be gutted, watered down, and declared a success before the work was even finished. After watching laws pass and leaders die and realizing that despite all the sacrifice, the system was still intact. This isn't a warning, it's a reckoning. It's Baldwin no longer hoping the country might change, but accepting in full that it won't. It's a book about mourning. It's a book about rage, about the ways even the best intentions still lead to dead ends when the system itself is designed not to change. But here's the thing, it's also about love. Not the love wins kind of love, not the Hallmark card, bumper sticker kind of love. It's about the love Baldwin had for his friends, for those who fought and those who died, for those who survived and who were left shattered, for those who still dared to believe even when he couldn't. Because Baldwin didn't just know these men as icons, he knew them as brothers, as comrades and friends. He had eaten meals with them, laughed with them, argued with them, and then he buried them. And that's what makes this book so powerful. It is deeply personal. Baldwin is not writing from some balcony, analyzing history with a cool detachment. He is in the streets. He is in the trial rooms. He is at the funeral homes. He is trying to make sense of how you carry on when people you love most, people who believed in the future, have been taken from you. He is writing about men and women he loved, people who shaped his life, people who were stolen from him. Baldwin wrote No Name in the Street at a breaking point in his own life, in the country's life, and in the broader civil rights movement. It was the early 1970s and Malcolm X had just been murdered. Martin Luther King Jr. had been assassinated, and Medgar Evers was dead. Baldwin had spent years in believing a movement that was now being erased, co-opted, or outright dismantled. And something in him broke. And as I read this book, I started to wonder, am I at my own political breaking point? Because Baldwin isn't just talking about the failures of the past. He's talking about the cycles we're still in. And then I get to this part, which is Baldwin reflecting on the day that King was killed. It was Martin Luther King's assassination that made it clear to me that I had to leave America. I had been hearing about Martin's death all day, on the radio and on TV, but I had not cried. I watched people weeping and wailing, and I felt nothing. I was walking home through the gathering dusk, and suddenly I thought, Martin is dead. That's not just grief. That's the sound of someone realizing the future he hoped for has closed. That everything that he has believed in, every inch of progress, every moment of hope, was not enough to stop this from happening. Martin is dead. Malcolm is dead. Medgar is dead. The movement is being packaged, sold, and sanitized for white consumption. Martin is dead, and America will keep moving on like it never happened. And I have sat with this quote, and it has forced me to ask myself, when have I felt this kind of despair? When have I started to believe that maybe nothing will ever change? And more importantly, what do you do after that? Because Baldwin didn't stop. He left America, but he didn't leave the work. He kept writing. He kept bearing witness. He kept telling the truth, even when he no longer believed it would set anyone free. And maybe that's the part that is shaking me the most, because I think a lot of us are at that point right now. We've voted. We've donated, we've marched, we've put in the labor, we've hoped, and we are watching the same patterns play out over and over again. And it's showing me that even when you stop believing in that future, even when you say to yourself, Martin is dead and nothing will change, you still need to speak. You still need to bear witness. You still tell the truth. Because silence is what power relies on. And even when hope dies, voice remains. But what Baldwin also forces me to see, what he will not let me look away from, is that we keep choosing the wrong voices to lead us. And we should know better. I just watched the Democratic Party choose not to know better. We had the opportunity to elect a DNC chair who had built momentum in a purple state, someone who had expanded the party, someone who had won people over, persuaded them, someone who understood that political power is not just in blue states, but in contested spaces, where the work is harder, longer, and more fragile. Someone who understood that changing minds and turning out votes is not simply about showing up every 4 years. It is a daily, relational, community-driven process. And instead, the party chose Ken Martin, a party insider, a safe choice from a traditionally blue state, a status quo choice, someone who, by all accounts, is competent and capable, but whose selection signaled what Baldwin saw so clearly, that the system is always going to choose self-preservation over transformation. We had a chance to choose strategy, and we chose comfort, because comfort is easier. Comfort doesn't demand risk. Comfort doesn't require power to actually be shared or control to be relinquished. And Baldwin made me see that choice for what it is. Because it was never just a choice about leadership. It's a choice about who gets left behind. It is a choice about who is sacrificed so that others can sleep well. Baldwin wrote, I have witnessed and endured the betrayal of the people I love. I have seen them locked up, murdered, exiled, and driven into madness. And I have seen white Americans congratulate themselves on their generous, guilt-ridden, well-meaning attempts to help Black people, while at the same time absolving themselves of any responsibility for the situation in which Black people find themselves. That's the choice. It is the choice that Baldwin watched liberals make after the civil rights movement, when leaders were assassinated and white America rushed to honor them in death while continuing to abandon the living. It is a choice that lets a movement be commemorated with a monument instead of continued with real action. The choice that allows progress to be something we remember instead of something we build. It is the choice to feel good about caring instead of being accountable for change. Tell me that doesn't sound like the same people who have an "everyone is welcome here" sign in their front yard of their $500,000 home. The same people who donate to the right campaigns, who will show up at the right marches, proudly holding signs that say hate has no home here, and then return to their neighborhoods where the policies they support still keep certain people out. Because welcome is conditional, because belonging costs money, because community, real community, might require giving something up. Baldwin forces me to see truth behind this gesture, to see that feeling good has never been the same thing as doing good. And that self-preservation, whether it's a party protecting its insiders or a homeowner protecting their property value, will always disguise itself as care. But care it is not. It is a choice. And every time that choice leaves someone outside, Every time that choice says, you do not belong here. And that's what this book, No Name in the Street, made me see. And made me see it everywhere. Made me rage, because Baldwin is reminding me very clearly that this isn't an accident. This isn't a glitch. This is the system doing exactly what it was built to do again and again and again. And it also made me rage at myself for all the times I thought I was doing enough, for all the times I thought I was on the right side of history, when really I was still choosing, to an extent, comfort, still choosing safety, still choosing even quietly to let someone else carry that weight. Baldwin will not let you make that choice without seeing it for what it is. And that is why this book will break you open. It's why it broke me open, but also why I am rebuilding. And I want to say this too, because I've seen a lot of people talking about wanting to read Baldwin in 2025. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. It's the right instinct. It's the right place to start. But here's what I want to say. If you want to understand Baldwin, if you want him to push you, to make you ask the questions and maybe even cry a little bit, start with No Name in the Street. Or if you begin with Fire next time, let this be the book you read next. Because The Fire next time is brilliant. It is urgent and necessary, and Baldwin is still reasoning with America in it. He's holding the door open in that book, hoping that we'll walk through. But No Name in the Street, the door is shut. This is Baldwin when hope is gone. This is Baldwin when the country has shown him again and again that it would rather build monuments to martyrs than make any real change. This is Baldwin saying, look at it. Look at what this is, and now what are you going to do about it? No Name in the Street is not a comforting book. It's here to unsettle us. It is here to push at our politics. It is here to force us to question and to see the gap between our good intentions and our actual impact. It is intensely uncomfortable and is supposed to be. This is a Baldwin who will not let you go. This is a Baldwin who's going to stay with you, and a Baldwin who will refuse to let you forget what has been done, what is still being done, and what it will cost to change it. No Name in the Street is the Baldwin you carry. This is not a book that you read and shelve, but one that you carry, that insists you speak, even when you think no one is listening, even when you think nothing will change, even when you have nothing but the memory of the people you've lost. You speak. As always, I appreciate you, and I hope you are taking care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one. That sucked.